All right guys, so just a little project here today. I wasn't even gonna make a video on it, and that's why it's already all in pieces, but this is a Boyar Shultz No.1 profile grinder. And you can tell right there's the plate, the manufacturer plate or whatever. Here's the table. You can see everything's sort of all in pieces, and it's all taken apart. Like I said, I wasn't even gonna make a video about it because it seemed kind of simple, but I wanted to share my experience just in case anybody else has one of these that wants to refurbish it or take it apart or has some questions about it. Very difficult to find a manual. I haven't been able to find a manual. And just like I said, no real good videos out there showing, you know, disassembly or reassembly. So this is going to be more of a reassembly video, but you'll still get an idea of the way that the parts go on, so that way you'll know the way that they sort of came off, and in the order you got to do it. But there's just a few things that I don't even know. I'm guessing on some of this stuff, and you know, it may not even be good information, so, but it may be more information than you already had, and I'm happy to share that, so stay tuned. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of clean this piece up. This has a hinge door back here, and this is where the electric motor mounts to. There is a spring back here that comes out. There's a gearbox that drives the spindle, so it's like a 2-pulley system, so the spindle can go up and down. And in this gearbox back here, I have no idea what kind of fluid this thing takes. I tried to look it up online, looked for a manual, looked everywhere, and just was not able to find anything about this thing, except for, like I said, that one guy's video where he showed his refurbished one, which was awesome. But this does have a drain plug on the bottom here. It's kind of tough for you guys to see it, but it's a flat-headed screwdriver plug, and it is in there, and it cannot come out. It will not come out. It won't. But there is a top up here for a fill, and I'm going to clean it all up first before I change the fluid, but I'm just going to put gear lube in here. And then I'll show you the front of this thing. So here's the spindle. There's an oiler. I suspect there's a felt in here where when you oil this, it felts the bearing. There's a felt for the bearing that lubes the bearing or whatever. This is where the spindle actually, this is where your grinder will attach, and the grinder will be above the table, but there's a set screw here that's out of there right now. But I'm not going to take this apart. I don't think it's there's dovetails here, right? And there's a jib for the dovetails, and there is set screws on this side, right? So Allen key set screw with a nut, with a lock nut on top of that to lock the to tighten or loosen the jib. And I'm just going to leave it all together. I don't really see a need to take it apart. It's going back inside the casing, inside the machine. So I'm just going to let that be. And I'm just going to put this inside this sort of Tupperware thing and spray it off with this gunk first. And then after that, I'll put it in the parts washer. I like to try to keep my parts washer semi-clean, just because it's such a pain in the ass to change the fluid in it all the time. So I'll get the bulk of it off, spray it off in here, clean it off in the parts washer, and then change, I don't think there's any fluid in it right now at all, and get some gear lube in it. All right, so just let this guy soak for a while. All right, guys, so I was able to get the drain plug out of here after a while. It took me some doing, but it did eventually come out, and here it is. But down in here, where this is meant to be drained, I don't think, again, I don't know what is supposed to go in this gearbox, but I'm pretty sure that it's not supposed to look like this. That just looks like regular grease to me. But there's no Zerk fitting on this thing. There's a fill cap in the top and there's a drain cap in the bottom. So it's telling me that this gear fluid, whatever should be in here, should be somewhat minimally viscous, flowable, so it can be drained and filled. So I don't know if someone just stuck a grease gun up in here and just jammed a bunch of grease up in here, or if that's what you're supposed to even do. I don't know, but I'm gonna flush it out and put gear lube in there and hope for the best. All right, guys, just a little progress here. This is the gearbox all cleaned up. Changed the there was grease in there. I blew it out with the air gun. It was literally grease or just set up gear lube. I don't know what, but it's all set now. Cleaned up, lubed the spindle bearings, just all cleaned up really well, and that's what we're looking like so far. So just got this part apart, the table with the gear, the rack and pinion gear that send the table up and down, and it's not a dovetail, it's just kind of a chamfer slide that it all slides on. So now just gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna work on this part next, the body, the casted body. So this is not the original motor that's supposed to be in here. This is a Dayton something or other. Anyway, you can read that. And it's the starter, the capacitor was too big, so they cut the hole out of the back. I don't know if there was a hole in there originally, or I doubt it, but they cut a hole in the back for the capacitor. And it's funny because there's other people that have been here, so it's interesting that this is all brazed, right? So these are repairs that were done to this casting. I don't know if this is factory braze. It may be, or maybe repair braze. I'm not sure, but that's what the casting looks like. It's not an awful shape, and it's got its original kind of riveted on decals and stuff. So probably just gonna clean this up next, get it ready, paint it, so then when this is drying, I can work on some of the other stuff. So. Okay, boys, so just a little update. Got the table apart. Got the rack and pinion pretty clean here. See if I can show you. The rack, the pinion. Got all these parts apart and clean. So just ready to kind of reassemble this part, get this table back together, and got the parts over here sprayed. So just here, and yeah, so just gonna go ahead and at least get this table back together while those parts are drying. All right, guys, here's the update. Just have the motor mounted onto the gearbox now, and that's what that looks like. And this part's ready to go back into the machine. Have to replace these belts. This one I have ordered. It's coming on Monday. This one is, I don't know. This is a very specific belt. I don't know. I'm going to try to look for one online. So we're looking tables back together. That's what that looks like. Got these parts painted. Got the casting housing part painted. And pretty much as far as I can go now until the paint dries. And yeah, it's starting to really come together. This came out really good. This was in it's pretty bad shape, but really starting to get cleaned up and look the part. So that's pretty much it. I have to wait for the paint to dry. Obviously it's dry to the touch, but I want to let it cure before I try to put all these guts back inside of it, and just end up ruining the paint job. But yeah, so this is it. This will be the end of part 1, and then part 2, I'll put it all together, and that'll be it.